We have a new vision for America. I mean that health care, in my view, is a human right. And we have got to pass a Medicare for all single-payer system.
Will you raise taxes for the middle class in the Sanders administration?
People who have health care under Medicare for all will have no premiums, no deductibles, no co-payments, no out-of-pocket expenses. Yes, they will pay more in taxes. The function of the health care system today is to make billions in profits for the insurance companies. And last year, if you could believe it, while we pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, they will spend hundreds of millions of dollars lying to the American people, telling us why we cannot have a Medicare for all single-payer program.
Well, that was Senator Bernie Sanders last night touting the benefits of his Medicare for All plan as socialism takes center stage at last night's Democratic debate. Andy Puzder is the former CEO of CKE Restaurants and author of The Capitalist Comeback. Is capitalism here to stay, Andy? Because you wouldn't know. If there's a Democrat elected, a lot of them seem to be touting ideas that would be in line with socialism.
Well, you know, the interesting thing at these debates was that there were really no questions about what will all of this cost? Like, how are you going to pay for all of this? And if you look at Sanders' plan, let's just take Medicare for all just by itself. Last year, the government had $3.3 trillion in revenue. We spent $4.1 trillion, so we're $800 billion short. The best and most conservative estimate as to what Medicare for all would cost is an additional $3.26 billion. If you tax, so we'd end up spending like $7 trillion, right? If you tax the wealthy 100% of what they earn, people that make more than $500,000, they make in total $2 trillion in taxable income. You could take every penny that rich people make, and of course they would stop making it if you taxed them 100%, and you still couldn't pay just for Medicare alone. So these programs that he rants about, he never talks about how you're going to pay for them because we can't pay for them. We can't deliver. We'll be Venezuela within 5 years.
You take him on pretty hard in this new piece. It's published on FoxNews.com. Andy Puzder writes, Bernie Sanders does not have a clue about economics 101, and that's scary. In the very first paragraph of this piece, you point out he mixes up in a tweet the differences between revenues and profits. Companies can have revenue and not turn a profit. You point that out. This is the tweet that you point out in that piece. The video game industry made $43 billion in revenue last year. The workers responsible for that profit deserve to collectively bargain as part of a union. I'm glad to see unions and the broader movement organizing such workers. So why are you taking Bernie Sanders on?
Well, number one, you know, that was a tweet. This wasn't something he said off the cuff. This is something he wrote down. A week earlier, he had talked about Walmart as the most profitable company in the country. Well, it's not. It has the highest revenues in the country, but it's not by any means the most profitable because it has very low margin.
Economic principles.
So he just basically, he mixes up revenue and profit, and the difference between those two is cost, right? So it's actually a cornerstone of his economic policy. You have to ignore cost. That's the only way he can make these proposals if he ignores the fact that we don't have the money to pay for them.
Based on what you've seen the last 2 nights, discussions on the economy, markets, and where they're going with health care, do you think a Democrat can win?
Well, I think there probably are Democrats who could win. I didn't see any on the stage that I thought could win. You know, I mean, you've got some like Elizabeth Sanders, who supports most of Elizabeth Warren, who supports many of Sanders' programs, but nonetheless claims she's a cap. I didn't see anybody that could take
real quick, because we've got some breaking news, but China, do you think a deal gets